In Gopal city, hilsa fish was a very popular dish. Everyone loved hilsa fish curry, fried hilsa fish, and hilsa 65. But there was a small problem. Hilsa fish was available only once a year and for a very short time of 1 month. So when the fish was available, everyone talked about it. So once, when it was the Hilsa season, the entire city was buzzing with the discussions. Housewives exchanged Hilsa recipes. Shopkeepers discussed the latest price of Hilsa. Fishermen talked about catching the biggest Hilsa of the season. The king Rajakrishna was surprised to hear his courtier discussing Hilsa instead of anything else. Finally, he shouted, "Hey, I have had enough of this Hilsa thing. Hilsa, Hilsa. Everybody seems to be talking of Hilsa. I know that it is the Hilsa season, but this is too much. I want to put a stop to it." One of the courtiers asked, "But how will you do that, O king? Everybody talks about Hilsa. You can't force people to stop talking about Hilsa, can you?" The king thought about it for a while and said, "Ha! If I can make them stop talking about it for a few minutes, I will be happy. In fact, I hereby announce that there is a reward of 50 gold coins for anyone who can bring the biggest Hilsa fish from the fish market to the palace. But if any of the people say anything about the fish or notice it, there will be no reward." For 1 week, many people tried to bring a Hilsa fish to the palace, but on the way, everyone would discuss the big Hilsa that was going to the palace. After 1 week, Gopal decided to have the challenge. He woke up one morning, shaved off half his beard, put mud all over his face and his hair, put on old clothes, and wore his shirt backwards. When his wife saw him, she cried out, "Hey Gopal, what has happened to you? Have you gone mad? Why are you dressed like that?" Gopal smiled and said, "I am going to buy the biggest Hilsa in the market and exchange it for 50 gold coins." His wife became more worried. She cried out, "What? Even the biggest Hilsa will only sell for 1 gold coin. How will you get 50 gold coins? Why are you acting like this?" Gopal just laughed and walked out of the house saying, "You will understand everything later, my dear wife." Gopal went to the fish market and picked up the biggest Hilsa available. Then he began walking towards the palace without making any effort to hide the fish. On the way, people stared at him, but no one seemed to notice the big Hilsa fish. Everyone talked about Gopal. They said, "Look at Gopal. I think he has gone mad. He has shaved only half of his beard." Another person said, "He looks dirty. I think he had too much to drink last night and he has lost his memory." When Gopal reached the palace, the guards recognized him. One of them said, "Hey, isn't that the Gopal the barber? Why does he look like he is mad? We can't allow him to see the king like this." One guard kept Gopal from entering the palace while the other ran to tell the king. The king asked them to bring Gopal to him at once. When Gopal entered the court, King Rajakrishna said, "Gopal, what has happened to you? Why are you dressed like this? Why have you shaved only half of your beard? Have you lost your mind?" Gopal laughed and said, No, your majesty, I haven't lost my mind. I have just won your challenge." The king was so disturbed by Gopal's appearance that he forgot all about his challenge. He asked Gopal, "What challenge are you talking about, Gopal? Explain yourself." Gopal replied, "Remember, O king, that you promised to give a reward of 50 gold coins to anyone who could bring the biggest Hilsa fish to the palace without anyone talking about it. Well, I have just done that." Saying that, Gopal held up the big Hilsa fish. The king suddenly realized that Gopal was holding the biggest Hilsa fish he had ever seen. He began laughing loudly and said, "Gopal, Gopal, you are too clever for this city. Here is your reward of 50 gold coins. Now please go home and clean yourself up." Gopal collected his reward and went home a happy man.